It is time to install a bed in this cargo van that we just got. And so here's a design I drew up, and I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. And then I'm going to put it together and install it in the van, hung like this so that it can be used even when there's a load up to 48 inches. So this is for a sleeper van for expediting. Today we are going to make a bed for the van. It's going to hook on to that rail right there, and it's going to fold down. I got my basic design right here. Oh, getting out of the light for you. So I'm going to start by cutting this piece of plywood, and then I'm going to go down in the basement and cut up a bunch of 2x4s. I'll show you as we go. We're going to start by cutting this at 75 inches. I am using the skill saw for these cuts because I feel like balancing it on the table saw is not ideal. Next we'll make a cut at 28.5. That plus the 2.5 inch 2x4 will make 30 by 72, the exact width of the camping mattress I got off of Amazon. Moving into the shop, and I'm going to lay out all the 2x4s. I'm going to make my first set of cuts before I make my second cuts, so that I don't have to account for the blade width of the saw. Gotta account for that blade width. Next I'm going to rip cut this on the table saw. I want the center of the blade to be right at 1 3/4 so that I cut these 3.5 inch boards right in half down the middle. And a perfect use for the table saw and this nice little shuttle it came with so I can push the board through without cutting myself. Okay, I got all my main cuts done. Now I need to go back and make some notch cuts. Okay, so I measure down 1/2 inch, mark my mark, and then I use this block to trace around my line. Once I got my line, I'm using my T-square just to ensure everything's nice and straight. Now I'm going to use the reciprocal saw to cut it out. There's the result, so I'm going to go ahead and do all the rest of the notches I need to do. Alright, I'm pretty sure I got all my cuts done. This is how this is going to fit together here. And so, I'm going to take a little break, and then I'm going to come back and assemble this. First I'm marking out my hinge points, and going to mount some hinges. And I'm just using the screws that came with the hinges. I believe they'll be sufficient, 3 hinges to support me. So next I'm going to router out the back side of this board so that the hinges will inset and this will sit flat. I'm marked out, so now I just got to get the router out and hit these out. Okay, I got the depth of my router set to the depth of the hinge. Let's get this done. I know I've said this in the past, but I do enjoy using the router. So I'm just freehanding around these. They don't have to be precise. They'll be all covered up. And then I'm going to go back and forth through the middle to remove the meat of the wood. Now I just need to cut a recess for the hinge pin. There we go. Hinge fits. It's going to work well. Now I can move on. Okay, now I'm going to start gluing and screwing this all together. I'm using some liquid nails to make sure it's nice and solid when I'm done, and using some of these spack screws. I've got 2 inches and 2.5. So I'll start by applying the liquid nails here on all of the surfaces. I'm assembling it in 2 pieces, the bed piece that attaches via the hinges to the wall mount. And so later that can be detached just by removing the hinges, but the 2 main pieces are all glued together to be nice and solid. Alright, I thought I'd show you it fully assembled before I go put it in the van. So we have supports all the way around the edges, 1 cross port in the middle. This is hooked onto the 3 hinges, and this will hook onto the side of the van. It's all upside down right now, and that's how it's going to raise to the wall and back. I'll show you that when we get out there. On the front side, we've got a full 2x4 for nice good support, running up to the same height as our bed height there, and so that'll be all smooth for our bed. And then I put these eye hooks in which is what we're going to hang the front from. We'll show you that when we get it installed. Alright everyone, it's time to install this bed. I've got my straps set up. I had to put this, where is it, that one on already, because I can't get my drill in tight in the corner there. So let's get this installed. Now I will admit, this being the first prototype did not go in quite as easily as I thought it would. Getting the 2x4 holders to attach to the E-track with this fully assembled was, can we say, quite difficult. So here we go with attempt number 1. So I'm attaching it here to the straps in hope to help kind of suspend it out as I attach it on like so, and it didn't really help. Yep, getting that first one latched in is quite the challenge. Alright, I had to take a side rail off, but it's getting in there now. How I'm going to finish it up. So from here on out it was pretty easy. I've got these E-track 2x4 holders clipped in, and now I'm using structural screws to fill in, screw these little 2x4 mounts to them. And that is working quite well. It's plenty structural for me and my weight. I'm probably around 165 if I'm to be honest. And the straps actually are sufficient also for my weight. And the straps enable me to adjust the bed up and down. So if the van is not perfectly level side to side, I can level out the bed. And that's great because then I don't fall out of bed at night. There it is. Punch it up out of the way. Alright, I got you balanced there on a plunge cord. Pillow's got to go in the middle. Strap first. That ought to do it. Up she goes. That on there. I like to strap up the other side too. Gotta break the strap though. Get it hooked on there. I'm gonna tighten this up and we're good to go. Just like that, saving then the bed's gonna be strapped up out of the way. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all that good jazz.